welcome to Empire Sports, the home of Zimbabwe sports conversation. We're on Weaver Field, the final day of the Schoolboy rugby season, which has been a very exciting season, where on the unofficial CBZ power rankings, St. George's has finished on top again. They're the best team in the country, only losing one game to St. John's College, who they played today on Weaver Field. I'm joined by my analyst, Sydney Savanu. Sydney Savanu, take us through the emotions, how you saw this final game of the season. It was the bet of the Saints, and it was a derby, and St. John's are the only team that managed to beat the St. George's Dragon.
No, first and foremost, I would like to say thank you for having me once again. But just coming back to the conversation that we're having off air, look, St. George's, let's not take anything away from them. They've managed to win, but St. John's to me played really well. They did, they had a game plan, they had a structure, they were very dominant in the forwards department. They had a game plan, especially on how to stop, the danger guys from St. George's. You talk of Rhino, they had a game plan for him. That's why they were always, when it was kickoff, they were kicking to Rhino. And just to try and eliminate him so that he's not the second receiver of a ruck. And that game plan worked really well. And they've managed also to stop another player who's very dangerous, a fantastic ball carrier, Master Stole, in the midfield. He had a quiet game today. And arguably, this is one of his worst games that he's played during this season. But look, it's just unfortunate for St. John's not to come up with a W. But I thought they were very dominant in all departments. They had a clear plan, they had a clear structure, and they followed it. It's unfortunate when you play with a team that is full of athleticism. One lucky break, they can punish you, and that's what happened at the end. But look, let's not take away anything from St. John's. They played really well. And there's also St. George's, they played their game. Look, we all know that it's a team that strives on lucky breaks. If you don't tackle, you know that they've got good runners. They do have a couple of guys who are in the Harare provincial teams and a couple of guys who have won the Nash sprints. So you know that they may not play the phases that you want. They may not be dominant in other departments of the game. But one thing that they're going to do is when they see that game, they're going to take it. They're going to take their chance. They're going to score. But you know what? That's the season. But let's talk about now next season. What's going to be the game plan for the St. George's coaches come next season? It's going to be interesting.
Well, inside, 12 of the starting 15 of today are leaving St. George's. So it's a serious rebuild.
Yeah.
Then for the Rams,
only six, yeah.
Of the people who started will be part of the team next year. So
yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting year.
And if you look at teams like Falcon, they've got how many? They've got 5 to 6 guys who are leaving. So it means that they'll retain the majority of their team. And as of this team, they have to dig really deep for them to be able to at least compete. You look at teams like Prince Edward, they do have a very, very young team. They might be losing 2 or 3 guys in their first team. So come next year, those are the guys to beat. But look, it's been a fantastic season, and once again, we always, criticize these boys. We always forget that these are high school boys.
They are schoolboys.
They are schoolboys.
They are not professionals.
They are not professionals. So at the end of the day, I mean, their dedication, their commitment. And by the way, they are not paid to do this. They do this out of their own passion and their own drive. But look, it has been a fantastic season. But obviously the teams that really stood out for me, obvious-wise, our brilliant team, always on the rise, always looking to compete. And of course, Peterhouse is another team that played really well.
Very dominant, only lost one match to St. George's.
You see what I'm talking about?
Probably if there was a reverse fixture, it could have even toss off a coin.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know what would happen.
Loma Gandhi, they've managed just to maintain, to keep it up there. But the teams to look out for next season, Falcon, Peterhouse, St. John's, because of the fact that they are going to be retaining 3/4 of their players next season. So, but it was a fantastic season of rugby overall.
And which would you say of the 5 players that stood out across all schools this rugby season?
Oh, that's a tough one, but I feel like Etlin played really well. Obviously, the likes of Joe. Just to mention a few, those are some of the names that I could come up with, and also that tall fullback from Falcon. I thought he played really well. is a player that really backed himself. He's a tall lad, big lad, and he backed himself up really well. And he, goodness me, is a fantastic tackler. Look, but I just feel like those are the players that I feel that like they played really well this season.
All right, Sinisanu, thank you for coming to Empire Sports, the home of Zimbabwe sports conversation. And hopefully we'll see you during the term with other sports, water polo, cricket.
And look, I'm looking forward to it. Oh, it's been a pleasure.
Coach Wiki, a wonderful end for the season for the Dragons. Only losing one game again, like last year. What was going through your mind when you're at the bench, when you're trailing towards the last minute?
To be honest, Brian, I knew we only needed one moment. Obviously, if you're a score away, I knew one moment was always gonna need. And a very ballsy move obviously took off one of our most destructive runners and best players, Masvita Stole, and injected in a young Form 4 in Pande. And yeah, sometimes Lady Luck smiles at you. And then he ran obviously length of the field to then score the winning try.
Then as a coach, you had a quick start, you're quick out of the block. You led 14-0 at one point. Then you kind of let St. John's creep back into the game. Were you slightly disappointed with your boys not putting the foot on the pedal and accelerating?
Yeah, I think coaching schoolboys, and I think every coach will say that they do have big lapses in concentration. You know, and again, we just let off a restart, the ball just bounced, and then it's a try without even us touching the ball. So those kind of things just set you back. But again, I must applaud their character to keep in there. You know, with 2 minutes remaining on the field, St. John's was 7 meters out of my line. In any other game, any other team, you'd think that's over. But these boys refuse to give up.
Then the CBZ rankings, power rankings. Some say the unofficial ranking system in the country. St. George's finished on top again. Are you proud as a coach?
Yeah, look, I mean, you can read whatever you want into the rankings. I think they've just given us a platform to have a look at who's performing where. I don't think it can ever be a perfect measure. I mean, if we're crowned as a top leaders, I mean, we'll take that and we'll appreciate that. But for me, it's that spirit that we see the boys playing with every single week. That should always supersede whatever rankings that are there. We should always applaud the effort, applaud them coming out every week and giving a show to everyone who's out there. So yeah, that's what I'm always going to be proud of.
Just looking ahead, how many Dragons? How many Dragons are you returning from the current squad next year?
Yeah, it's a definitely big rebuild next year. Out of the run-on side, 12 of those are leaving. You know, so it's going to be a big rebuild next year. But again, it's an opportunity for someone else to step up and take the mantle. With the way these boys played, was a perfect send-off and a perfect example of how to play as a Dragon and Weaver. So all these boys were watching, and I'm sure they're going to pick it up again next year.
All right, Coach Ricky, all the best for next year.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
All right. Coach Kevin Yawata, a tough ending to the season. First half, you were leading 21-17, and your boys really showed some character. Can you just take us through the emotions you went through this nail-biting game? Unfortunately, you had the losing end, but I think your boys gave it all.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank St. George's. Yeah, they hosted us really well, and the atmosphere was great. It was friendly, it was welcoming. So before I go into any technical stuff, I just want to thank St. George's. Second, it's been the story of the season. Just a roller coaster of emotions, and really reminding us of what the purity of schoolboy rugby is all about. Close games, passion, guys putting it out for their school. So yeah, unfortunately for us, 15 seconds earlier, if the game had ended 15 seconds earlier, would have been home and dry. But massive congratulations to St. George's. A lot of pressure for them. I know it's their old boys' day, and you know it's not easy being favourites. I wish they were coming into the game today, but yeah, it was a close one and a tough one to swallow, but we moved.
Where do you think you lost it? You had a slow start, but somehow towards the end of the first half, You got going in the second half as well. You got going. Where do you think you lost the match?
You know, I think with a game like this, because it was so tight and it could have gone either way, really to pinpoint one moment, I think would be unfair. The momentum swings. The momentum shifted. I don't think we capitalized as much as we should have when the momentum was going our way. But again, like I said, I can't choke it down to one moment. It was such a tight game, so.
Then tough end to the season. Any Rams players in returning from the current squad to next year?
We've got a few. We've got about 6 guys coming back, which is great. And there's 6 in the spine of the team, so I'm pretty happy about that. And to be honest with you, this group of players, what they've done, their legacy, what they've sparked in the college, they've ignited a fire. You know, the love for the game is back, which is all we ask for them.
Thanks, Kevin Yawata. Wish you all best next year. Hopefully, the Rams will come out fiery next year.
No doubt we will.
All right, this is the final say. I'm signing off of the Schoolboy season. On Weaver Field, the St. George's Dragons have won 38-34. They've gotten their revenge after losing the reverse fixture on Honeyfield in Roe Valley. It's been Brian Matamba. It's Empire Sports. See you next time.